I really enjoyed Rick's musings on songwriting earlier, because it's a very funny practice. I remember starting out writing songs and thinking that it's an art form, which obviously it is. But then you do it for a while and you realise like I'm kind of doing maths here. This is kind of like numerical relationships between sounds. That's quite interesting. So does that then become physics quite quickly? But then what we're really trying to do is interact with how people think. So maybe there's some psychology in that. Another kind of counterpoint to that is it biology? Which sounds insane, but there's a kind of process of natural selection that happens with songs, where the things that work survive, and we call those things cliches a lot of the time. But what this kind of translates to, in my experience anyway, is certain songs last and some songs don't. If you play a song to an audience and they don't like it, it dies pretty quickly. And this is one of the very few songs that I wrote quite early on that I think still has some merit and some value. And I won't force a meaning on it by telling you what I was thinking about when I wrote it, but yeah, enjoy. Car park, anointed by the petrol and the freezing rain. The quiet serenade from the rundown sanctuaries where we scratch the sacred names. And the vicar with his broken teeth gave out his body to the faithful, the scene of the crime. Survivors of the plagues and natural disasters who made it to the beach in time. But we lost our way as the sleet came down. The bulldozers drove us underground. The dam collapsed with a dreadful sound as the heroes and villains and vagrants drowned. And now the sleepless vultures circle round. But if we hold our breath, we won't be found. Paced the streets till my shoes wore out, the oil soaked through my feet. I clutched at straws till my fingers bled, too proud to accept my defeat. And I fled from the imaginary horror sent to poison every single thing I held dear. The many-headed monsters always shrieking in the shadows, crawling in my ears. Please tell me you still remember the words to all those songs. Please tell me we were Terry and Julie all along. Well, I'd love to take a waltz down memory lane, but I just get so tired these days. Felt to try and snatch some sympathy, but the bulldozers drove. They drove straight over me, and we lost our way as the sleet came down. And the bulldozers drove us underground. The dam collapsed with a dreadful sound as the heroes and villains and vagrants drowned. And now sleepless vultures circle round. But if we hold our breath, we won't be found. But they burned our crops and smashed our bones. And the bulldozers came and they crushed our homes. They nailed us to these white hot thrones. We just stood no chance even if we'd known. And now, trapped in spaces we've outgrown, we're left to try and rebuild alone. But the bricks just fall to pieces in our hands. Cheers.